what is something that men have to give in society to women, regardless? Like, what is our job or our charge in society for women, regardless of whether they're in relationships with us or not?
Protection.
Go ahead. Anybody can answer.
I said
Yeah, he
protection.
answered.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Protection, money,
Problem solving.
problem solving, safety.
Okay.
I
So
think it's the perceived
Nothing.
idea of protection. The
Nothing.
perceived idea of protection, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, let's be honest, man. Nobody's out here just jumping in front of bullets for random women out here. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you got a wife or a girl or family. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't see dudes going above and beyond like that way. I think there is a level of like, intervention, but not to the one that most people think about.
I would say that that
Police
that may be true to a certain degree today. However, for the better part of human history, that was not the case. Most men were expected to give or put their lives at risk for the women that were around them, regardless of whether they were romantically involved with each other or not. For example, we even seen the instance with the brick lady. There was an expectation that men were supposed to step in and combat whoever she encountered with the brick. But that's not the point of the reason why I'm asking. My next question, follow up, is what do women owe men in society, that whether they were romantically involved with them or not? We know what y'all just said, protection regarding men. What is something that women supposed to do for men in society, regardless of whether we're in relationships with them or not?
Respect.
Fetus.
Said the fetus.
Nothing. Nothing.
It used to be once upon a time a smile. It really was. Like if you
In the olden days.
in the olden days, like I think there was a once upon a time in our society, like where women would just, owe men, it was a smile. You will see men that will come out of the steel mill or the construction sites, and they would see, hardworking blue collar men, and they will smile at them, right? I think that or men that will return from, from the armed services or war, there will be a certain smile, a certain energy. Like, I don't think that even exists anymore.
So
you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that element is kind of gone.
So what I'm getting at is that it kind of ties into the level of value that women have for men today. Is because they don't value our presence so much so that they feel that they don't have anything to do for us. They don't want to do anything for us, even if that is something as simple as smiling. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, 40, 50, 60 years ago, women used to make plates for men that they weren't in relationships with just because they knew they were hungry. Maybe they lost their wife, or, you know what I mean, he was a single guy in the community. They would make plates for these guys. And it was a certain level of appreciation. Men did what we did for women because we appreciated them. So we didn't mind going out our way to protect the women that were around us. And women looked out for the men in the community, whether they were in a relationship with them or not, because they appreciated what men had to offer them. There's a low level of appreciation for men today. And people in the comments, if you read the chat, all of them are saying, for what? What do we have to appreciate y'all for? And I think it's a fair question. Because what Shannon said is, we don't owe y'all nothing. And so therefore, in the opposite end of that, then y'all don't owe us shit. But it ties
I think a
back
lot of that is fair.
Well,
A lot of that is fair too, because the problem is, all right, so sometimes, like, women are so mean right now that if a chick actually smiles at you, you're probably like, oh, damn, I need to run down. She probably like me. You know what I'm saying? And then there's the creep culture, so they're scared of that. And you know how much Lifetime and ID channel these women consume and what it does to them mentally and how much it makes them fearful, right? Even beyond social media. These women watch a lot of Lifetime, right? And that will damage you. ID channel will damage you, period. Because all they're looking at is a bunch of horrible men, the worst examples of men possible, right? And then some of it is even reality, right? Like if you watch ID, you see all the worst stories ever. So they scared as hell. And not to say that this is right, but I'm just saying what's happening to some of these women mentally, because they don't know how to consume it and just be like, okay, this is probably outliers. That's why it's on TV.
Trev,
They just look at that like it's real life.
the only problem with what you're saying is, why does that only manifest itself when it's time for them to do something for men, i.e. smile, but they never manifest itself in the way that they dress and how they treat men? Because they will go up and argue with a man, try to throw hands with a man, would dress will walk outside half naked and could give two fucks what men would think or say about them, but you're afraid of creeps because you smiled?
So Sweeney, listen, and to answer your question, and I know JR wants to get back on the what's scrolling at the bottom, but to answer it, what you're speaking of is so human beings, we're a colonial species, right? And so for thousands of years, I think somebody mentioned, or for millennia, we lived in colonies and we were tribal. So humans are tribal. There's a hierarchy, there's a king, and then there's the medicine man, and then there's the people, and people had to be colonial to protect themselves from the world, from animals and threats of other tribes trying to take their resources. And that's what we just had to do for centuries, because there was no electricity, there was nothing. And then what happened in the last 200, we'll say 300 years, is we industrialized, we modernized, and then we democratized the human race. And so now the threats that we used to have for years, where women would respect and appreciate and cook for and take care of the men who would protect and fight for and go to war for the women and children back at camp or back in their tribe. You don't have to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. Because we're now industrialized and we're communicating with cell phones, and we can call each other and we can talk to each other. And now we have government. And so now that we've governed ourselves as a species, the responsibility that men had for women and women had for men has now been vacated and abated over to our government. And so now we have, when women need protection, they got the police. When men need food, they got McDonald's. And so the things that we needed women for to get us this far, men don't need them. And what women need men for to get us this far, women don't need it. And so now we're at each other. Now in 2023, we're looking at each other. What the fuck I need you for? I pay taxes. And he's saying, well, what I need you for? I pay taxes. And so now we're at a head.
Right.
And that's all that happened. The only thing that happened is men made the world safe for women to have an attitude with us with no repercussions. It's just that simple, man.
I mean, we civilized the world.
Freedom.